Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and we're about to talk about blood sugar and weight loss in menopause, how blood sugar affects weight loss, what it has to do with insulin and carbs, and what you can do. 4 simple little strategies that I'm going to explain right now that you can do to cause your body to burn fat super fast. Let's dive right in. So first of all, blood sugar is very misunderstood. So is insulin. A lot of people say insulin's bad. It's a fat storing hormone. It's a storage hormone. It's bad, 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 bad. And this isn't entirely true. In fact, I did an entire lesson on how you can use insulin to burn fat and tone your muscles. I'll go ahead and splash that up so you can go check out that lesson. But what is blood sugar? What does it have to do with insulin? How do carbs affect it? How do you work this? Okay, first of all, blood sugar is simply the amount of sugar in your blood, or the amount of glucose floating around in your blood. Your body needs sugar to live. And so you have this range, and generally it's used in milligrams per milliliter, I believe. And if your blood sugar drops below, say, 50, you'll kind of go into a coma, okay? You might actually die. And this is why you may have heard the term hypoglycemic, people that their blood sugar goes too low and then they have to eat something sugary to boost it back up. But it can also go too high. And this is what a lot of people talk about when they talk about insulin resistance. People with diabetes, type 1 or 2, is they're at risk of their blood sugar going too high, which can also really harm you. And so just like everything in the body, there's a range. It's not that less blood sugar or lower blood sugar is better, and it's not that higher blood sugar is better, or insulin. It's that you want them in the correct range so that your body can function a certain way. In this case, we're talking about getting the body to burn off body fat, but you'll also be able to increase your energy, have better workouts, tone your muscles better. And so this is where we're going to dive in. Now, any food that you eat, whether it's carbs or fats or proteins, will increase your blood sugar. The difference is how much they increase it, how quickly they cause it to go up, and how long that those foods will keep your blood sugar elevated. Now, what does this have to do with fat loss? Well, if your blood sugar goes too high, your body has to release more insulin. Insulin is a great hormone. It's not a fat storing hormone unless you use it correctly. If insulin is in the right range, that's key. You'll actually still burn fat and tone your muscles, because insulin will deliver special little things into your muscles for fuel. But if insulin gets too high because your blood sugar goes too high, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when people will start storing fat because they don't know how to control it. Now, carbs get all the focus because they have the fastest impact, and to some degree the largest impact on your blood sugar. If you were to eat carbs, your blood sugar would go up rather quickly. Now, it won't stay up very long. It'll also come down pretty quickly. If you eat protein, there's a little bit of less of a spike, but it may stay elevated a little bit longer. And with fat, the spike comes, but it takes a longer time, and then it stays up much longer because fats digest slower. So it just takes a while for them to kick in, but they still will raise your insulin and your blood sugar. Okay, so this relates to my other lesson, which I'll go ahead and splash up, we talked about who should have carbs and who shouldn't have carbs, and we broke it down into 4 different body types. Well, really, if you're going to do a Cliff Notes on that, if you're a couch potato and you're not doing any exercise or any activity ever, you probably don't need that many carbs, because carbs really are energy. So if you're not doing anything and you're not using any energy really other than to just sit there, then you don't need as many carbs. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a bodybuilder, someone who's really trying to put on a lot of muscle and they're working out all the time and their workouts are extremely difficult. They need an extremely high amount of carbohydrates because they're trying to get it into the muscles to grow their muscles. Well, most people are in between. If you're here and you're looking, you're listening here, you want to lose weight, hopefully you're exercising, because that's the healthy way to lose weight. You can lose weight without exercise, it's just not as healthy. And so hopefully you're exercising, in which case you want carbs. Carbs have some great benefits. Number one, they help your thyroid. They help your liver convert T4 to T3. Having a healthy, strong thyroid will speed up your metabolism. It'll help you burn fat. It'll give you lots of energy. Number two, they help increase and regulate your leptin. Leptin is a fat burning hormone that tells your body, hey, you have enough fat, burn the fat. It kind of regulates your appetite and can also impact and help speed up your metabolism. Number three is, we just talked about, carbs help with muscle. So if you're trying to lose weight but you want to stay toned, not get soft and flabby, yeah, you should be eating carbs and their energy. So if you're wanting to really do a lot of cool stuff in life, you don't want to just sit there all day, feeling like crap because you have no energy, then yeah, you also want carbs. But here's the double-edged sword. Carbs can raise the insulin and they can contribute to fat storage if you don't know how to use them correctly. If you're eating the wrong type, if you're eating too much at once, if you're not timing them correctly. So let's dive in, and I'm going to give you 4 tips or strategies. How do you do this so you can regulate your blood sugar, still eat all the foods so your body doesn't go into starvation mode, you have high energy, healthy metabolism, and you really optimize your health and burn off body fat? Here we go. Key point number 1, or first tip or strategy, is you've got to eat under your carb threshold. And there's 3 parts to this. Number 1 is the amount of carbs. Number 2 is the timing. And number 3 is the type. What does a carb threshold mean? Well, some people can eat very little carbs, very little, and it'll spike their blood sugar really high. While other people can eat a lot of carbs all at once and it doesn't spike their blood sugar at all. What determines this? Your age, your gender, to some degree your genetics, what kind of diets you've done in the past, your activity, how much you do, the type of activity you do, the amount of muscle you have on your body, the amount of fat you have on your body. There's a lot of factors that affect your carb threshold. I've seen it as low as 20 grams of carbs per meal for someone. If they have more than 20 grams of carbs, their blood sugar shot up. They got all sorts of cravings, their insulin release, they gained weight. Well, I've seen other clients who could have 70 or 80 grams of carbs at once and nothing happened. So there's a wide range, and that's why I can never really explain specifics because everyone's a little bit different. You have to understand your body. But 2, the timing and the type of carbs will also impact how they affect your blood sugar. I did a lesson about timing and what factors through the day change with your body, your metabolism, insulin resistance, cortisol, melatonin, things like this. I'm going to go ahead and put that up so you can go check that lesson out on the timing, because certain times of day you can eat more carbs, and you should. And other times of the day you should eat less, and it's really important to understand that. The other piece now is the type of carbs. There's some carbs that'll go to your liver and they won't spike your blood sugar. There's other carbs that'll go into your bloodstream and get shuttled to the muscles really easily. And then there's other carbs that'll go into the bloodstream and really kick up the blood sugar high and quickly. Well, there's a time and a place for that. If you're trying to maybe build muscle or put on muscle, that can work to your advantage if you use it correctly. However, you might be thinking, well, if some go to the liver and they don't spike your blood sugar, is that good or bad? Well, it's good and bad, okay? If they go to your liver, that's good. It's not spiking your blood sugar. It's giving your liver fuel to crank up your thyroid, which will speed up your metabolism and give you lots of energy. But the liver can only hold so much. And so you can't just do all of one or none, this and that. You have to feed the liver, but if you give the liver too much and it can't use it or store it anymore, then it'll store it as fat instead. So this is key. Number 1, you've got to understand your threshold, the timing, and the type of carbs. You want to eat carbs, but you have to understand those 3 components. Let's look at the second strategy, and that is fiber. Adding fiber to your meals will really help regulate your blood sugar. It slows the digestion. That way what happens is, let's say you ate carbs and you had a complete meal, you ate carbs, you ate extra fiber. Now what's going to happen is those carbs are going to go into your body. They're going to be digested and absorbed much more slowly, which will have a less of an impact on your blood sugar. It's almost like a time release. Well, now you get the benefits of the energy, the muscle, the leptin, the thyroid function, but you're regulating your blood sugar. Fibers comes from vegetables. You can get fiber powders, but it's really great to help balance things out. And you always want it with a meal, not separate from a meal. If you eat the fiber with a meal, it'll really slow that absorption of that meal down, and it'll also keep you full longer and prevent you from getting any sort of cravings or blood sugar crashes. So fiber is really key. Let's look at the third strategy, protein. Well, protein's a little bit unique. See, protein, when you eat it, it'll trigger your body to release hormones that are opposite of insulin. So it'll kind of balance it out. But protein, if you eat too much, will still have a blood sugar spiking effect. A lot of people don't know that. So you have to have the right amount of protein, the right type of protein, but this really does help balance a meal out. It's very good because some of those amino acids in the protein are what will go to your muscles and make sure that you're not burning muscle or losing muscle. Protein's a great way to help regulate that blood sugar. It kind of keeps you full, and it's a wonderful addition to your meals, but you need the right type, and there's 6 types of protein. There's high quality, there's low quality, there's complete, there's incomplete, and then there's high phosphorus and low phosphorus. Now, there's a time and a place for all of these different proteins. Sometimes you want the high quality, the complete proteins, and the high phosphorus. Sometimes you want the low phosphorus. Sometimes you can get away with the lower quality proteins. Sometimes at night you can do that and enjoy different types. But you want to know the different types, how they work, and we'll probably make a lesson all about that because a lot of people have been asking about that. So now let's look at strategy number 4, which is incorporating fats. Well, everyone's saying, oh, you gotta have more fats. Fats this, fats are great, fats are great. Well, that's not entirely true, okay? How's my voice cracks? Okay, that's not entirely true. There's 10 different types of fats. They're all going to impact your body differently. And if you eat too much fat and if you eat the wrong types of fats, they can actually make you insulin resistant. So they actually wreak havoc with your blood sugar and prevent you from losing weight. Certain fats like trans fats, saturated fats are not that good when you consume too many. You definitely don't want trans fats or hydrogenated oils, but saturated fats you do have to be cautious of. Now, the other fats are unsaturated, and there's omega-3, there's omega-6, there's omega-9, there's monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and some of these can also wreak havoc. If people consume too many omega-6, which most people do in the US, that can cause an inflammatory effect. Omega-3s are a little bit better, they're anti-inflammatory. Sometimes the monounsaturated fats are going to be a lot better than the polyunsaturated fats, but you really want to understand these. Now, just like always, different people will interact differently to some of these fats. Sometimes they'll digest some better than others. And if you have too many fats at once, this can really bog down your liver. The liver has to process those fats. So if you eat too many at once and the liver's trying to process, and it can't process it quickly enough, it ends up storing fat around itself, which is called and creates non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay, well, now fats also can spike your blood sugar. Make no mistake. The difference is they take longer to spike it because they digest slower. The catch is if you eat too much fat at once and it spikes up that blood sugar, it keeps the blood sugar elevated a lot longer, and this can also cause issues because now the body has to crank out insulin to try to get that blood sugar balanced again. So while fats can be helpful, there is a threshold, and right now a lot of people seem to think that fats are great, they're unlimited, they're no problem, they don't do anything to your blood sugar, and that's not true. Just like everything else, they have a threshold. So if you're a woman in menopause and you really want to get that stubborn belly fat off, part of the equation is to do these 4 strategies. Now, blood sugar is only one piece. Remember, your body works just like an ecosystem. There's a lot going on. And if you only focus on blood sugar, you're going to miss other key things. Hormones, exercise, and different enzymes that the body's going to release. your leptin, adiponectin, how they work together. You can't only focus on one thing, but this is a key piece. All right, we're going to splash up 2 videos right now that are really going to go more in depth with some of the insulin, blood sugar, food. You're going to want to watch these. They're going to be so helpful. I will see you over on these lessons. I hope this was helpful. Take care.